Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly with Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 R's. I'm your girl, Lady Bounce.
And I am Picket Fence. The Mindfulness Minute today is called Escape from Drudgery. I recover to my natural zest for life. I look past the mundane and into the beauty of this life. Life can sometimes feel like a drudgery, as though there were only an endless stream of chores to be done. Recover your natural exuberance by questioning the thought that tell you repeatedly that you have nothing to celebrate, nothing new or exciting in your life. Question also the depressed mood. Even though it feels heavy, it is transitionary in nature. Concentrate instead on the attitude you would like to manifest. The dynamism and joy that make life livable. Put more vigor and enthusiasm into your work and watch how you blaze through all difficulties. During the midday pause, watch the process of your body, your circulation, your respiration, especially. See how the internal universe can be characterized by carelessness, following activity. Rather than holding back in a resistance, make your life a consciousness parcel of the activity of nature. Join with nature and allow yourself to participate in the general flow of things. Become light and movable, and your problems will dissolve into general flux at the heart of reality. Word up.
Word up.
So basically what that is saying is with all the things that we go through in life, you have to sometimes pause and look at the positive aspects. We tend to get stuck on the things that are wrong, and it gets us stuck. And sometimes we have to reset and look at the things that are good. So let's break down these 4 R's for the people.
All right, so we're gonna do things a little bit in reverse today. We're gonna start with the brain science because the brain science.
Brain science.
Thank you. So what the brain science leads us into is the 4 R's and what are they? How to use them to your advantage. So let's get into this.
Word.
Consider the recent events of the past several weeks. Mass shootings at what seemed like every turn. Economic worries, inflation, COVID-19 not willing to fully let go of its grip on us. So if you feel like just crawling under your covers for a few days, you are probably not alone.
Word.
But when you are a caregiver, in such the way that most people are caregivers, you are caring either for yourself, for your children, or even loved ones. So essentially everyone walking is a caregiver of something or someone else. You never quite get a chance to just tuck and run and hide. So what you can do is use the 4 R's to your advantage. The 4 R's are retreat, respite, reflect, and refocus. So let's break it down.
Word.
Retreat. Me personally, I find that when the world around me gets too overwhelming, I give myself permission to retreat. I tend to pull back from social media, stop the daily doom and gloom scrolls, unplug from the constant news coverage, which is hard for me because I love the news and I'm a news junkie. I worked in the news sector for a long time, so turning off the news is sometimes hard. Only to tackle the must reply emails. So if it's not pressing, don't reply to it right away. Give it a couple of days. Now, if your boss is emailing you about a project that they want by today or by tomorrow, obviously you have to answer those emails. But if it's something that's not that important, it can wait. After all, the sun won't stop shining if we decide to take a short 24 to 48-hour break from the rest of the world. Respite. If we don't get our rest, then we are zero use to those around us. You are not Superman or Superwoman. You must be willing to ask for help from those closest to you. So that may mean asking a family member, close friends, or even a neighbor to run an errand for you, or to sit with a loved one, to sit with your loved one that you may be caring for, so that you can have a short window of respite. Reflect. Throughout your day, as you move through various duties, reflect on the person your loved one is, those that you care for. Meet them where they are. Even in those moments when you are about to lose your mind, consider their life journey and all the experiences which have made them who they are in this moment. By doing so, you just might learn more about them and in turn yourself. Number 4, refocus. Once you've had a few moments of respite and a bit of reflection, you may discover a new path forward, allowing you to refocus. Refocusing your perspective may help you in spotting where you can rearrange your day or how you can be more efficient and effective. Consider what daily chores or parts of your routine you can let go of. Reevaluate the people in your life. Are they reliable and supportive? Or are they energy suckers that you need to set free so you can be free? Go ahead and jump into this R box. Use it as often as you need to. Because remember, if you aren't taking care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of those who need you the most.
Oh, that's deep. That's real deep. Let's break down the first one, which was what, retreat.
Yes. So
A
knowing
lot
when
of
to stop, knowing when to
yeah, a
let
lot
go.
of people think that retreating is giving up, but it's not necessarily giving up. It's a just like those old game consoles, a reset. You have to
Mhm.
take a step back so that you can evaluate things in a holistic approach. So retreating is not giving up. It's just taking a step back so you can look at a broader view of things. You know what I mean? What would retreat mean to you?
Um, Retreat for me, it basically means, like the old saying, controlling what you can control.
Mhm.
And also with controlling what you can control, knowing when to let go of control,
Mm.
knowing when to relinquish it and say, this situation is not my mission at this moment, and to let it go. And then the bigger piece of that, when you let those things go that I like to call not my mission, to not feel bad about it, to not
Mm.
feel like because I have retreated because I have chosen not to tackle something that is not for me mentally or physically at this time, to not feel bad about that, to not feel like, oh, I owe it to the world. I'm gonna, kill myself in order to love you, or kill myself in order to take care of you. Because if that happens, then when you need care in the future, I can't care for you because I've depleted myself so much by not retreating when I need to. It's about knowing, like like when to say when, not necessarily giving up, but when to say, at this moment my cup is full and I gotta retreat so that I can empty my cup and fill it up with the things that are going to make me feel fulfilled and whole.
Yeah, it's a pause button. Push
Right.
pause. It's okay to push pause. Sometimes, say you're listening to a lecture or audio book, sometimes you have to push pause to reflect on what you have already heard.
Mm-hmm.
So a retreat is a pause button.
Yes.
So you can get a proper analysis of what has already been played.
Right. And giving yourself permission to be able to do that is key. We so often we go for everybody else, and we don't take care of ourselves properly. And then when you when you don't take proper care of yourself because you're so busy taking care of others, then that starts to breed resentment for the person that you are caring for. And it becomes less of, I'm caring for you because I love you and you deserve to be cared for, or you need to be cared for. It becomes, I'm so sick of taking care of you. If I wasn't taking care of you, I could. You fill in the blank.
Hold
When it
on.
really,
Hold on. Pause. Say that a little bit louder for the people in the back that didn't hear it.
I'm just saying, like it breeds resentment because it be, because it's like I could be at the park watching the ducks or feeding the ducks or watching the water, but I can't because you need me to run this errand, or you need me to be here, or you need me, you want me. And because I don't want to disappoint, I'm going to show up even when I'm depleted.
Mm-hmm.
Which in turn also breeds resentment from the person that you are caring for, because they can sense it. They can sense when you are depleted, or when your energy is not there, or when you're not paying attention to them. And it may be through no fault of their own or of your own. It may be just that you should have retreated, and because you're here, you don't want to be here. The other person feels like they're a burden to you. So then they start to retreat in a negative way. They start to pull back from you and pull back their attention and their affection because they feel like they're asking you for too much, or they're asking for you to do too much. So it breeds resentment really on both sides, if not taken in the proper context.
Word up. Word up. And what's the next one?
Respite. And that's just taking a rest. Whatever rest is to you. What is rest
Yeah,
to you? When you're resting, what does it look like?
yeah, I like that because, like you just said, what does it look like to you? Rest can be categorized or looked at in a lot of different ways. It may be cutting off your phone and binge watching your favorite show. It may be still cutting off your phone, but taking a journey into nature. It may be going to a silent retreat. It may be yoga in the park, something that's going to give you fully rest. It may be taking that midday nap for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Because I think that a lot of people don't realize that the importance of rest and recharging yourself wholly.
Mm-hmm. But that's because we live in such this fast-paced, go 24/7 kind of society, and we're caught up in the rat race of I gotta work to make money. I need money for things, but I'm tired and I don't want to go to work. My kids need things, my mama needs things, my man needs things, my woman needs things, and before you know it, you're caught on this hamster wheel. And then you hate everything and everybody because you see everything and everybody as the reason why you can't retreat, get the respite, refocus,
Re-energize.
and re-energize.
Word up. So make sure that you please get your rest. However you feel that rest is. Like I said, that could be just chilling out on the couch all day doing nothing. It could be laying in the bed taking a nap. It could be you find it hanging with your friends as restful from your normal life of making sure deadlines are met, making sure that everything is going according to plan. It could just be a nice glass of wine and cheese. Word up.
Well, I'm not a wine drinker, but if I were, that
Me
sounds
either.
fine. Wine and cheese sounds good. Shout out to
Right.
Montreal for the wines, though. I do like his wine.
Big up. Boom, 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 boom.
But overall, I'm not a wine drinker. So there's that.
Word up. Another thing that could be restful, it could be scheduling a massage. It could be getting your nails or your hair done, going to the barbershop. Something that you find completely relaxing and restful.
Absolutely. Like, I look at me, for example, the other day, I had about 2.5 hours by myself after I got finished playing taxi cab taking 3 people in 3 different directions. And I came home and I turned on the TV, and we have a smart TV, so you have to click on an app to be able to watch TV. I didn't even click on anything. So there was no sound, just the little pictures of like stuff that's available to watch or apps to click on. I scrolled through my social media for a quick minute, and then I put my phone down and I just laid there and I stared at the wall. And I think I fell asleep. I'm not quite sure. But it was so quiet and so peaceful that I just vegged all the way out. Wow. And then I had to remind myself that when I got up to go on the next leg of my journey, which was to pick up all the people that I dropped off, to not feel bad about the fact that I had just spent the last 2.5 hours doing absolutely nothing of substance.
All right.
And that, I think, for me, and I'm not going to say just for me, but for me especially, before a lot of people, that is the biggest piece. It's being able to give yourself permission to just turn it all off, disappear into your own thoughts or not thoughts. Because I can't even, tell you what I thought about. I just lay here and looked at the wall.
Word up. Let's break down the next one.
So the next R is to reflect. So as you're moving through your duties, throughout the day, reflect on yourself, reflect on the people that you are taking care of, reflect on who you want to become, who you once were, maybe you want to find that person again. I'm not sure. You're reflecting.
Yeah, I think you're just thinking about all the ones that we talked about. Reflection could be looking at what has happened to you in your life, reflecting on what moves have you made to better yourself. It could be reflecting on, have you positioned yourself to go further? A reflection is just that, reflection. Are you looking the way you want to look? Are you eating the way you want to look? Eating the way you want to eat. Are you having proper time for yourself? Are you having the fun that you want to have? Are you exercising as much as you would like to? It's in the word, reflection. And I think one thing that you can do is sometimes you can take reflection literally and take 5 to 10 minutes a day and look into the mirror. Are you seeing what you want to see? Or can you see a better way in your reflection? Are you looking take that 5-10 minutes, look in the mirror and make sure that you compliment yourself. Make sure that you tell yourself it's going to be okay. Make sure you say that we got this. Make sure you say that I am dope. No matter what. Look at that reflection. Coach that reflection. Motivate that reflection. And most importantly, love that reflection.
That was a whole sermon in itself. We actually had a self-care assignment probably about a month ago. They said, stand in the mirror and look at yourself and love what you see. And if you don't love what you see, whether it's, your hairstyle, your hair color, makeup, your weight, whatever it is that you can fix, then work on fixing that. If you choose not to work on fixing that, then that is fine. But then also when you look in the mirror for those things that you've chosen not to fix, not that they necessarily need fixing, so that might be the wrong word, but things that you want to change. If you aren't going to take the steps for whatever reason to change what you don't like about yourself, then you need to find a way to love what you don't like about yourself.
As the people say, that part.
Right. So if you're a little bit too fluffy and you don't like to be fluffy, but you also don't like to exercise, then you find a way to embrace and love that fluffiness. Now, with that extra fluffiness, that doesn't mean that you have to eat like, a savage or some animal or something. You can eat better, so maybe you don't get any bigger. So if you're not going to exercise to try to get smaller, then maybe you say to yourself, I love where I'm at right now. I could be smaller. It would be nice to be smaller. I'm not going to kill myself to get smaller, but I can't control whether or not I get any bigger.
Mhm. Yeah, I like that.
You all
I
right?
like
You
that a
look like
lot.
you're falling asleep.
No, I was just thinking about it, and that's really deep because I think that a lot of times that we're so critical on ourselves, whether it be your career, whether it be like you just said, your your looks, your weight, your hair. Is my hair, is it laying right? Is my lipstick looking right? How do people look at me? And I think that is really important. What you said, that take the time to love where you're at, and if you're not where you at, set goals, small goals to get to where you want to be. But most importantly is the fact that you love where you're at. Like you said, you could be comfortable with your fluffiness, but that doesn't mean let go of everything and just eat all the Oreos, ding dongs, and Suzy Q's this that's in your reach.
Right.
Maintain where you're at.
Right.
Because I think that if you just let go, then you might have some negativity towards yourself, and that's not the goal. The goal is to love where you're at, but also make small steps to be where you can see yourself being further down the line.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, so I think that that's really important. That we're not trying to tell people that just everything's okay, and I think that that's a bad vibe, as some people say. This out there now, we're having people to say is be as large as possible, and that may not be a healthy thing for you.
Right.
But we have all this thing about body shaming, and which I don't think that we should shame people, but I think we should gently motivate people to become better, because big can be beautiful, but big can be unhealthy at the same time. And if we're just telling people it's okay to be unhealthy, is that a good thing? Is that good in society for us? I think that we're being inclusive, but we may be too relaxed on the inclusiveness. We're like starting, I think that we're starting to gear to anything goes. And I
Yes.
think that you should have some rules and regulation. Maybe not force your rules and regulations on other people,
Right.
but if something is not healthy or good, or in a category of well-being, we shouldn't condone that either. So it's a thin line. It's a thin line. Just like they said, there's a thin line between genius and insanity. It's a thin line out there, because I think that we've talked about it before on the show, that I don't think that everybody should be awarded for everything, and I think that kind of kills motivation to be better for people. And not to be too conspiracy like, but I think that is a goal for some people in society to make people be to feel, what's the word, entitled.
Mm-hmm.
you know but entitlement can cause stress on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you feel over entitled,
Yes. And
that
you're not
brings
getting what you feel like you're entitled to.
that
Absolutely.
could bring more stress to you. So I think that as we reflect and look in the mirror upon ourselves, love where you're at, but don't be afraid to become greater either.
I agree. 100%. And we talk about, just to piggyback what you said off about, attire and looking your best and feeling your best when you go outside. I think that
Hmm.
that comes and it can be aided by all of us having our own sense of modesty.
Okay.
And
Break
I
that down. Break that down.
okay, so I feel like what you were saying, if you embrace your body size, nobody is body shaming you. I would never
Hmm.
body shame another woman for being whatever size she is, too big, too small, whatever. It may not be my cup of tea, and that's cool. But when I say embrace your own level of modesty, you and I were out probably about 2 weeks ago, and there was a young lady who showed up at the place we were at, who was very scantily clad, to the point where not only did I see her whole entire butt, but her panties too. And it struck me as, do you, boo? Do you, sis? Dress how you want to. However, on the flip side of that, I even turned and said to you, now if some dude comes up to her and starts talking to her and starts trying to holler at her or grabs her butt or smacks her butt, and she will be mad and be ready to fight. Now, I'm not saying that she doesn't have the right to dress however she wants.
Hmm.
But when you dress a certain way, then there are certain things that come along with that. Whereas had she practiced her own level of modesty, then I wouldn't have seen her whole entire butt and her panties. Like, the brand of panties you have on and the style and the color, that's not something that the world needs to see. You should have enough modesty within yourself to say, I'm going to go out, dress sexy, but still be fully clothed and fully covered. Like, she may as well have been naked. And we're not even going to talk about the shirt that she had on and how she was falling out of her top. Now, we know that men are visual creatures. They are that by
Hmm.
nature. They are led by their eyes. Their eyes feed into their actions. So, with that being said, when we go outside, we got to practice some modesty, because there are certain ways that you dress, and even men too. There are certain ways that they dress that lead to catcalling from women, that lead to inappropriate comments, and then to be the same people on Facebook crying and complaining that somebody said something to them, but your whole booty is out, sis.
Booty
So
meat.
if you're going to dress like that, you have to understand and expect that those rude, inappropriate comments come with that.
Yeah, and to to piggyback, we're saying we're not condoning men doing that, but there are a lot of men. A lot of men are weak, and a lot of men may have been raised, bred, or whatever you want to call it, to think a certain way about a certain image. Like you
Yeah.
said, we're visual creatures, and some men have been taught or seen with all the programming out there that if the booty's hanging out, the booty got to be flickered. You got to flick it. You got to flick the booty meat.
My flickers.
Flick the booty meat. Not that I'm not saying that that's right. So I'm just
Right.
saying
No,
that
no, I get it.
and I always bring this up when we talk about dressing and appearance, is that a lot of people, when we think about Middle Eastern women who have the hijab and have their hair covered and things like that, we always talk in our society, Western society, about that being an oppressive thing. But this is something I want you to think about. Maybe it's not oppressive. Maybe in ancient times, women decided to do that because they understand how weak men are to visual aspects and reality. I say it in a song, and I won't say it because this is a family podcast. I miss the smell of a beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And that's the smell, the visual, the beautiful flowing hair, you know, things like that. That I think that men, because we're visual creatures, that we may be weak. And how do we not know that in ancient times, women say, I know that men are weak, and I don't want to be tempting to that. I want him to see the mind. So he has to hear me. He has to read my literature. He has to watch my work experience. And then maybe later on, if we are a couple, I'll take this off and he can see all these beautiful curly locks, straight locks, or whatever it may be. I don't know. None of us have really know ancient times, because we know in this programming that we have in the world that we don't get real history.
That part.
You know what I mean? So
Right,
as we
go
wrap
ahead.
this up, today's self-care assignment, along with the week going ahead, is to reset. Is that how I said it earlier?
Yeah.
Reset. Reset, relax. The 4 R's that we talk about. Take some time to retreat, reset, and reflect on all aspects of your life.
Word up.
And that's our show for this week. You can find us wherever you find your favorite podcast. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email us at flywithusla@gmail.com. And please follow us on Facebook and share those daily self-care assignments so that we can all help each other to practice self-care. It's your boy Picket Fence.
I'm your girl, Lady Bounce.
We out of here.
Peace.
Peace.